So my name is João Fonseca Santos. I work at the European Investment Bank here in Portugal. And today I wanted to bring to you the story of the IB and what the European Investment Bank is doing to lead what we call the green and digital transition towards a sustainable future. I will start by presenting what is the European Investment Bank Group. We are an European institution. We were established in 1958 by the Treaty of Rome, and we are fully owned by the member states of the European Union. They are our shareholders, and as such, we align our policies with European goals and our member states' objectives. We have two main institutions, which is the European Investment Bank, that is more known for investment in large infrastructure and renewable energy projects, but we also have the European Investment Fund that is targeting more the startups and the SMEs business. Our mission is to foster the European integration, to promote the European Union development, and to support the EU policies inside and outside the European Union. We are nowadays one of the largest multilateral lenders. It means that we are also a leading financier of climate finance, and that's why I'm here today to explain you our story, how we became one of the main institutions providing finance to climate action. And also, we have a broad range of products that goes from loans to equity to guarantees, all of them together that target the fact that we want to support companies at all stages of their development. From the startup to the big projects, we have evolved to have a solid offer to implement projects. And finally, I also want to talk about, during my intervention, of what we need to do also on the capital market side. The European Investment Bank, it raises funds in the capital markets, and then you use those funds to finance the projects we support. But also there is an important factor here. We need to do more on the capital market side to finance the transition and to have more funds to finance climate action, environmental sustainability, and all those goals that we want to aim. I also want to show you what the impact of the IB financing. So last year we did about 88 billion euros of overall activity from the IB and the IF, and we mobilized about 270 billion, which means that our role as a public policy bank is also to mobilize investment, meaning that when we put €1 in the project, we want to bring more of private or public funds into that project. And that's why we have this catalytic role. We are here to support projects. We finance normally up to 50% of a project cost. In average, we finance about 1/3, and that's our goal, to bring the assurance that the project is good and can attract more money into the project that we are financing by our intervention. And we also focus in impact. So, for example, we estimate that what we invested last year will have an impact of about 1.4 million jobs in the EU by 2027 and can contribute about 1% to the European Union GDP. So also a second part of our objectives is not only to catalyze more money, to bring those monies more efficiently to the projects, but also to have an impact. So we know when we are financing that we are improving the life of people. For example, we expect with last year investment to support about 400,000 SMEs, to sustain jobs in the economy, to improve infrastructure, bringing more good infrastructure to the life of people, to improve not only the sources of renewable energy and of green energies that we support, but also bring more electrification to people to improve the quality of supply of energy, for example. We also want to improve, in some situations, and mainly outside the European Union, access to medication, to vaccines that are important. So we also map those objectives. Also bring more water of quality to people. It's a very important objective of our impact. And also in the education field, for example, we know more or less that we want to support, in this case, more infrastructure of education throughout Europe. In a nutshell, these were the first two ideas, that we want to bring more money, not only ours, but manage well, efficiently public monies to bring more capital to project development, and we need to have impact on what we do. And we know nowadays that when we talk about the great challenges such as climate action, migration, pandemics, we are talking about global issues, not only European ones, unfortunately. And as such, we also have activity outside the EU. We grouped all of our activities outside the European Union in a branch of the EIB that is called the EIB Global. And naturally, we follow the objectives of the EU member states and of the European Commission. For example, we support the Global Gateway Initiative, we support the Just Transition, we support also the SDGs of the United Nations, and we work together in the spirit of partnership. And we work together also with the other MDBs, such as the World Bank and the multilateral family that we are very proud to be part of. We have a global footprint, especially in projects in the enlargement area of the European Union, but also of what we call the Global South. And we reached an activity level of 8 billion in 2023, which is more or less 10% of our global activity. We have also a very important mission close to our hearts, and sustainability is an important backbone of the EIB way of supporting projects. We have a landmark policy roadmap. This is what we call the Climate Bank Roadmap, and that was launched in 2020, and where we defined important policies and KPIs to drive our sustainable agenda. Some of them were quite relevant. For example, the bank has aligned all of its activities with the Paris Agreement, which means that we cannot support projects that are harming the environment, and we also abandon completely the support of fossil fuels. We decided also to implement a KPI to dedicate 50% of our activity annually to what we call climate action and sustainability, environment sustainability, meaning that this was an objective that we already reached the last 2 years. So in 2022 and 2023, we have reached this milestone already of plus 50%. And finally, we also devoted to the funds that we lent, mobilize at least 1 trillion of investment in climate action and during the critical decades. Also a note that this year we already had a review of our Climate Bank Roadmap. It's also public, and we are on track on delivering or putting the money where our ambition is with success. So we are on track to deliver on these goals. And then finally, naturally, all of these are in line with European Union policies and strategies, such as the EU Green Deal, the Just Transition, outside the EU, the Global Gateway, and the UN Sustainable Development Goals, that we also map in our activity. So as the EIB is a project bank, we try to estimate which are the milestones in the different areas of the SDGs that our projects are going to contribute to. And then every year we have a reporting that is public, and you can consult this, where we map our activity outside and inside the European Union according to the Sustainable Development Goals. Naturally, we can see that SDG 13, that is related to climate, is always very important and present in both outside and inside the EU. But then, of course, there are some some changes when we talk about SDG 1. It is more impactful outside the European Union. On the capital market side, as I also mentioned on my short introduction, we know that the transition will require a significant amount of funds. And the job of a public policy bank is to find ways to mobilize more funds to the transition. We talked until now of what we do when we lend to the project, so we follow those guidelines aligned with the Paris Agreement to develop the EU strategies, but we also need to capture the money in the capital markets. It's part of our business model. The EIB every year goes to the market, issues about the level of money they will need to put on the project they finance, and a part of this is from what we call our climate awareness bonds or our sustainability awareness bonds, which is also can be known as the green bonds more traditionally. Depends on the eligibilities that are on those on each bond that we issue. And we started in 2007, and the story behind this is that it is possible for a new institution to also work and innovate. At that time, it was the first green bond that was issued in Europe, in the world. And nowadays, after many years of activity, we managed to increase quite consistently our green bond or climate awareness bond and sustainability awareness bond issuance. And we passed for the first time this year in aggregate amount the 100 billion euros mark, which is quite impressive also. And besides this, we have issued in about 23 currencies and in different maturities. So today we have supported the establishment also of this new asset class, and this is an important objective, not for us to understand that it's possible to do more on the green bond market, and the opportunity for everyone is quite significant. We are talking about a total bond market of around 120 trillion worldwide, of which only 3 to 4 billion, I don't know the exact numbers, refer to green bond issuances. So the opportunity here and the multiplication factor is also quite significant. And it's also a way we need to always also look at where we can get our money from our investors to then apply to green projects. Normally, usually also they are audited, so we contribute also to bring more transparency to the green bond market. On my final slide, I will talk about a concrete project in Portugal where we can map how we support innovation and climate action together in launching and supporting new technologies. Just to give you an idea, the IB has a recurrent activity in Portugal. We did last year about 2 billion euros. Over the last 5 years, we did around 13 billion euros. So we are very committed to Portugal. But I'm going to focus on a specific example, the case of Windfloat Portugal. We all know that innovation and especially disruptive projects are by nature riskier. But it's also the job of a public policy bank to support those projects. If we want to achieve the green transition, we know that more or less half of the technologies are still at the prototype phase, or they are still to be discovered and supported in a commercially viable way. And this was one of the cases where we supported a new industry. So we are talking about floating offshore, floating wind offshore. That is the project that was financed in 2018 by the European Investment Bank with the support of the European Commission. And those three, this project that started in Portugal, today is a success. And how does it work? The European Investment Bank put the funding. The European Commission provided also the guarantee to support the project and the bankability of the project. And nowadays we can say that we can probably say that we supported that the project that is that is working in Portugal and that served the base that we support now other projects in similar aspects in other countries of Europe, but it started here. And this is how we have this obligation to also find ways to finance the most innovative ones, even if they are by nature disruptive, and if we need to launch new technologies to support the green transition. Thank you very much.